Hello and welcome to Thrive After 45. I'm Denise Drinkwalter, heart whisperer, midlife mirror, and mentor. And every week I am absolutely honored to share energy and space with inspiring guests whose stories reflect so many possibilities of thriving beyond 45. Together, we uncover the whispers of the heart, the power of midlife transformation and the wisdom that fuels expansion because when one woman turns her light on, the rest of the room catches fire. What if everything you thought about taking care of yourself, you thought you knew, but it was designed for someone else? What if midlife was actually the invitation to finally learn what works for you? My guest today has been teaching yoga for decades, thousands of classes, thousands of students. She knew the practice inside and out. And then menopause arrived. And suddenly the tools she had trusted didn't quite fit anymore. So she did what a true teacher does. She went back to the beginning. She asked harder questions. She looked at what she had always been taught and noticed that most of it had been designed for men or for a much younger woman. And she rebuilt it for us. Nearly 30 years of teaching, 10,000 lives touched. And she is still learning, still evolving, because our guest today knows that the women coming to her now aren't just looking to sleep better or feel stronger in their bodies. They are looking to come home to themselves. And that is exactly where our guest, Cheryl Gordon, leads them to. I can't wait to have this conversation with you today, Cheryl. Welcome to our show.
Wow, Denise, that's so wonderful. Who are we talking about again? Thank you so much. That was such a warm and welcoming invitation. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. I love having conversations with the likes of you on this show because there's something way deeper than just, I do the yoga class, this is how it works, and this is what we're going to do. Life kicks us in the butt. We land, and sometimes we land and bury ourselves, and sometimes we land and stand up and move forward, which is what you did. Tell us about that journey based on what I shared at the beginning.
Well, it was a very accurate depiction, actually. But when menopause hit, it was the very beginning of COVID for me. And it was very tempting, as you mentioned, to kind of bury your light, like just to give up, because I didn't know if what I was teaching in the yoga world was really relevant anymore.
Mm.
Without sleeping very well, with the hot flashes, was I a good advertisement for the practice anymore? It kind of felt like I was falling apart. So it did involve going back to basics. It did involve a lot of listening to my heart whisper. Who was I at 60 years old? What was my relevance? What was I being called to do? And because yoga is such a huge part of who I am, it's funny this white bread person who grew up on
Yeah.
a farm in Ontario, how could they be so drawn to this ancient practice that comes from across the world? But I really am, and it is who I am. So I
Mhm.
thought, you know what? I just got to figure this out. I got to figure out how I can continue to practice because there is more joint pain as you get
Yep.
older. There's no doubt about that. No amount of yoga is going to change, the fact that
Right.
we are getting older.
Yeah.
And, there is the question of I'm fatigued a lot. I have brain
Mm.
fog, the hot flashes, the feeling of losing confidence that you can balance on one leg without falling and breaking a bone or something.
Right?
So I
Yeah.
needed to rebuild my personal practice so that I
Mm.
was willing to accept more help from chairs or other props, for example.
Hmm.
And I also needed to rebuild my attitude towards my practice and my expectations of myself. As I went through that process, I realized I got really excited again. I went
Mm,
from being like sweaty and teary and really, really tired to getting the proper supports, learning not only for what yoga has to offer, but maybe what our medical system has to offer and what the power of
mm,
community. And I was like, I was really excited. And I thought other women need to hear this message too. I don't want them fading away when they hit my
yeah.
age, feeling
Yeah.
like they're spent.
Hmm.
There's ways for us to bloom even when we're older. So
I love that. Yeah. What, what a tsunami. COVID. Like,
it was
seriously,
something.
I can't imagine. Did
Yeah.
you wake up one day and go, you know what? No, I'm, this is not how it's going to be. Is that how it worked for you, or was
It
it
took
like a,
about a year, to be honest. It took about a
okay,
year of kind of, just kind of bumbling around in the
yeah.
dark. I didn't even realize I was going through menopause. Isn't that ridiculous? As
Well,
someone who's
no.
a yoga
Be-
therapist who's
mm,
had like training in anatomy and physiology and all this kind of stuff. Like I help other people with all kinds of different conditions, but in my own experience, I didn't recognize perimenopause. And even when menopause was descending, it took me a few months to realize, oh yeah, I haven't had a period. Oh yeah, look at the hot flashes. Duh. So for women, we really need, I think in your
mm,
introduction, you mentioned about being
hmm.
a mirror or reflection.
Yes, yes.
You do need your community. You do need teachers and
Yeah,
mentors to help you. This is
yeah,
this is one of the biggest transitions a human body can go through. And so many women try to power through it and be
yeah.
tough because we
Hmm.
always have been able to do that. We held up the world on our pinky finger, right? And it's
Yes,
bewildering
yeah.
when our bodies betray us like this. So it took about a year of bumbling around in the dark until I figured out I don't think things are going to get better on their own. I think I might have to be proactive here.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
then how long was that journey for you to go from that to changing how you support through your practice?
I think it took another 2 years of
Okay.
trial and error, research, getting myself well again.
Hmm.
And then discovering along that 2 years of experimentation what was really working for me, and
Hmm.
then putting it together in my She Mindfulness program. So, which is kind of drawing from the tools of yoga and mindfulness, but specifically for women who are
Hmm.
experiencing the menopausal transition. So it took me about 2 years of experimenting and learning, and then
Hmm.
I was able to distill it down to this program and then prepare that to share with other women.
And what types of feedback are you getting from it?
It's actually kind of surprising. Like we think the pain points of menopause are weight gain,
Yep.
sleeplessness, brain fog, the
Hmm.
hot flashes. You think that's where people would talk about the results in the
Hmm.
She program. That's not what, if you look at the video testimonials, that's not what you hear from the customers. You hear from these women how the She program has given them their voice back. It's given
Mm,
them their hope, that there is another chapter unfolding and that their power is back in their own hands. They're excited that instead of dancing to everyone else's tune, which we have done for decades as women,
mhm.
that they are getting ready to write their own story. And I didn't expect that. I expected we'd just help people lose a couple
Mhm.
pounds and sleep better. I thought that's what they wanted from it. But actually, there's so much more. Like you get those little wins and you do start
Mhm.
sleeping better, or you do see the scale shifting. But that inspires you to take on so many other things that you didn't have time or energy for when you were busy working full
Yeah,
time with little kids,
yeah,
keep pushing through in your own career, you know.
yeah, yeah. The phase is changing. It's a new phase of life and opportunity. And isn't it beautiful how all of the digging in and the learning you've done and what you've taken years to put together? This isn't a flash in the pan here, let's go and try this now. You've spent years, 3, 4 years based on what was going on for you. And I think that is so valuable. And I'm really believing in my heart of hearts that the reason why you're getting those kinds of testimonials is because this is who you are. This is your soul work, like you shared in the beginning,
Yeah,
right? And you're showing how to come back home to yourself, no matter what the quote unquote ailments may be. What a
exactly.
beautiful gift.
And that is the
Oh.
purpose of yoga for everyone, is a pathway home, um,
Mm,
an
hmm
integration, a healing at the deepest levels. It's just for because of the way yoga is practiced here in the West, we get enamored with things like hot yoga because it's supposed to be a good workout, and we want to be able to do all the complicated postures, and we lose track of some of those more spiritual or some of those more heart-centered
mm,
teachings. So, at the heart of what I'm teaching, I think, Denise, is
hmm
self-compassion, self-acceptance, and you mentioned in your intro about self-care. We often think about spa days, or,
Yep.
I just need to get away, I need a vacation,
Yep.
retail therapy, my
Yep.
glass of wine at the end of the day because I've had a rough time, I'm stressed. We think of
hmm
those things as self-care, but actually, I would challenge midlife women to rethink what they're doing to care for themselves. Because a lot of those
mm
things are distractions or band-aids for how we're really feeling. So, in order to really express or really come into our full expression of who we are in midlife, we
hmm
need to be brave enough to
mm
experience our lives as they are without all those distractions or band-aids. And it
hmm
takes tremendous bravery. And that's why it's nice to have someone hold your hand along the way.
Right?
Mhm.
Totally. And somebody who's safe, like yourself, right? Somebody who is available to, there's no judgment. It's just how can you come and just be, right? A
Yeah,
community. I love that you build that community.
yeah.
So needed. We hear this all the time. Community, community, and people are like, yeah, I have a community, and there's so many different levels of community, isn't there?
Well,
Yeah.
definitely. And so many times we want to maintain the friendships and the
Of
relationships that we've
course.
had for decades. But as we change and we hit this stage of life
Yeah.
and we want to blossom and bloom, then some of the relationships that have always been comfortable maybe aren't so comfortable anymore, or those people are still expecting from us what
hmm
we've always provided. If I could offer a personal example of this, I
Yes.
have adult children,
hmm
love them dearly.
Yep.
But it's always been me that puts on the big Christmas dinner or the big family
Yes.
celebrations. And it was just, like taken for granted. When I
hmm
went through this stage, I had to really examine, is that who I am anymore?
hmm
First of all, do I want to put that much work
Yeah.
into something? So there was a little confusion in our family dynamic, and it's not always comfortable when you change something like that. Maybe you've been caring for your mom all these years, and
Mm-hmm.
when you hit menopause and you're not sleeping, da da da, someone else is going to have to, or other family members, they might not want to have those conversations with you. So that's what I
hmm
mean about relationships that have always
hmm
been in a certain paradigm
Yep. Yep.
maybe have to shift. So this
Yep.
is where it's nice to be able to choose new relationships, build a
hmm
new community
hmm
where there isn't the judgment, there isn't the expectation of you. You are being supported for who you are in this moment. It's such a
Yeah.
beautiful gift. Now, I hope
hmm
that women learn through my program to offer that gift to themselves. That's where the self-compassion and self-care comes from, to be
hmm
their own best friends in a lot of ways. But
hmm
it's nice to have other voices in that group too.
I totally agree with what you're saying in terms of having other voices. And the reason I think it's so empowering to have a collective that are experiencing similar, not necessarily all the same, but similarities, there is a different kind of a connection that can happen through those conversations, isn't there? Yeah.
And it's amazing, even virtually, like you and I.
Oh,
It's
yes.
amazing. I never would have believed it 10 years ago.
Isn't that true?
But I
Yeah,
have enough direct experience now of creating really wonderful friendships and supportive relationships, even virtually.
absolutely. Absolutely. Although I have to admit, in real life is so beautiful too. So I know back in 2020 when COVID hit and the virtual capacity became a new reality, I think it was a great opportunity. Now, we don't live too far from one another,
We don't.
so that's pretty cool. I'm expecting we will come together to have an in real life hug, as they call it, and I'm looking forward to that.
And maybe
Right?
we'll bring some of our friends, and
Yeah,
that would be fun.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. You mentioned, you went through some of the things that happen, as we all know, some of the pillars that happen that we all tend to, oh, menopause, you have the hot flashes. You mentioned about the belly weight, and which takes me to numbers on a scale, right? I used to do that. I'm not gonna lie, I still do it on occasion just to go, well, Denise, what have you been doing recently that really you need to look at? But anyway, what does the number on the scale have to do with living a full life? So is there a difference? You mentioned about self-care and self-indulgence. What's going on in that? And should women just accept that they're getting older?
I think this is an amazing question. And I get this feedback a lot, like, especially coming from the world of mindfulness. There's,
Mm.
can't you just accept life? Shouldn't you just stay in the present moment? Which is a really spiritual sort of concept. So this is a big question, but I'll try to unpack it efficiently and
Sure.
quickly.
Yeah, no
Um,
worries.
so the number on the scale tyrannizes us, right? Especially our cohort, our generation. So
Mhm.
there, you do have to reformat your relationship with that data and see it simply as a number, a data point, and use it as a way to um, evaluate whether what you're doing is in alignment with your higher goals or not. And
Right.
the self-care is so important through this
Hmm.
process. And maybe if your desire is to fit into a certain pair of pants or to get to a certain number on the scale, if that's the pain point that draws you into the process, I'm cool with that. It's not about judging your body or eating perfectly or,
Hmm.
number one nutrition or anything like that. It's what are you discovering about yourself when you go through the
Mm.
process of following these data points? Are you discovering that by the end of the day, you're so tired and exhausted and you've been, offering so much to the world that the only way you can comfort yourself is in the bottom of a box of Oreos, you know,
Hmm.
and you don't want anybody to know that. Been there, done the binge thing.
Right.
I'm a card carrying
Right.
member. But, and then you feel shame and then the spiral starts. Tomorrow I'm going to be better. Monday I'm going to start a diet. And it's that self-loathing, that self-aggression. So wouldn't it be better just to weigh yourself on a scale, get the
Yep.
data point, and then have a program that would lead you through towards a goal of losing some weight if that was your goal, but in a way that you discover those
Mhm.
feelings and don't engender the shame spiral and the binge eating, because there are ways with loving kindness and
Mhm.
practicing relaxation breaks throughout the day so your nervous system has a break from the constant pressure of our lives. There's a way of being your own best friend so you don't feel so abandoned by the end of the day. And there's
Love
all
that.
kinds of tools like that that we can look at. But that is why you don't just give up and say, "Well, this is my
Right.
body. This is my life," or whatever,
Yeah.
because we were born to bring certain energy or certain talents out into the world. In yoga, we call that our dharma. And
Yes.
I think now that we don't have little kids underfoot, that we aren't pressured to build our careers in the same way, our
Hmm.
mortgages might even be paid off, that now's the time that we can really show what we're made out of. And it would be a sin to let those
Right.
talents be buried under sweaty
Yep.
menopausal symptoms. And I think a lot of times there are very real reasons why we have belly fat in menopause, and it's got nothing to do with what you're eating. It's got a
Hmm.
lot to do with our hormones. But there are a lot of
Right.
women who just allow that extra weight to pile on. They're bewildered why it's there,
Hmm.
and they just they just bury themselves, their feelings, their potential underneath
Hmm.
that, feeling shamed because they're gaining weight. I want to help you dig out from underneath that, not
Hmm.
because you need to be bikini ready for summer or have flat
Yes.
abs, for God's sake, but
Yeah.
because I want you to be all that you were
Mm.
meant to be in this world. And the journey of weighing yourself, being kind to yourself anyway, taking progressive action,
Hmm.
supporting yourself, regulating your nervous system, all those steps that I teach in the program,
Hmm.
that will help you discover the fullness of life. You're going to take those skills and
Hmm.
apply them to your relationships with your adult children, or deciding whether to retire, or should you move? Is it time to give
Hmm.
up the family home? Do
Hmm.
you have a difficult parent that's a really difficult situation to navigate? All of these different kinds of things happen in midlife, and these skills that you might learn losing weight can be applied to setting loving boundaries and self-care guidelines in all those other situations. That was a long answer, sorry.
Don't ever apologize. Never apologize on my show.
It's the Canadianness
That's
coming out.
it, right? You know what you were saying is so, so important because what I am hearing is it is yoga practice with other things so deeply embedded that you get to become the full you that maybe has been lost over time, but it's always been deep in your soul.
hmm And a lot of my work has been going back to thinking about before I got married the first time, even maybe
Yeah.
before I had kids, when I was still in university. I had ambitions, I had goals, I had dreams. And I think we can all kind of identify with that earlier version of ourselves when we were very forward thinking. We were
Mm-hmm.
excited about our future, we were planning for things. Compare that to the way I felt at 60 when I was slammed with all these health issues because of menopause. It was
Yeah.
just, I was going to roll over and give up.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
about that younger version of myself?
Yeah.
There's no reason why I can't pull
Hmm.
that back out and have some fun. It's
Yeah.
my time to have fun now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the opportunity is sitting in wait just for you to come in and open that door and see what is still brewing inside there. I call it a spark that's there, and it's just now the oxygen, and you are part of the oxygen resolution for that spark to become a flame. Love
Yeah.
it.
And there's so many women that, different health problems come up. I mean,
Hmm.
we are getting older. I'm not denying
Sure.
that. But the practice of yoga does offer so many health benefits that
Hmm.
can help with a lot of, joint pain, sleeplessness,
Yeah.
regulating our nervous system so the hot flashes aren't quite so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that. Love that. Is there anything that you would love to share with our audience that we haven't tapped into specifically? A message you would love to have all of our listeners hear from you because you've given us such depth and capacity and a light for us to be able to move towards. Is there anything you'd love to share before we close today?
Well, I am a yoga teacher. So can I just
Yeah,
share like
yeah,
a 30 to 60 second
please.
practice?
Oh,
This is super easy.
please.
Super easy. And if you're driving while you're listening to this, repeat this part when you get home. But if you're doing anything around the house or whatever, you have the capacity to just find somewhere to sit for a second and close your eyes. Let your hands rest on your lap and with your
Hmm.
palms facing down.
Hmm.
And just notice for a second what that feels like and create a word in your mind that describes palms down on your lap. Some of my students say things like grounded or heavy. And then turn your palms up very, very slowly and notice how you shift slightly. And maybe there's a different word that describes this. Some of my students say open or light. Now let's inhale where you are. And then as you exhale, turn the palms down and think of that first word, like grounded or whatever it was. Inhale, turn your palms up. Take your time. Think of that word. Exhale, turn your palms down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, palms up. Think of that word. And exhale, palms down. And think of that word. And then go ahead and open your eyes again and come back to us. But just noticing that, like that was about 60 seconds, I think. That was what I call a mindfulness snack. And
Hmm.
if you just take those tiny little breaks throughout the day, snack on mindfulness throughout the day, you literally reset your chemicals in your brain and in your body so that you're not so vulnerable to all of the stress-induced problems that we have in midlife. So I don't know if anybody else felt that shift, but a lot of my
Yep.
clients say that they actually feel like they've dropped out and come back in a new woman for a second.
Yeah, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you saw me close my eyes. I wasn't sleeping. I was following the prompts. And it took me a second to close my eyes because it takes me a bit to get settled, right? So,
Mhm.
um, absolutely tuned me into the moment and the energy that was flowing through as I did that exercise. And how quick.
Yeah, because you would be kind of pumped up a little bit because you're
Yep,
hosting a podcast, you've got
yep,
tech things, so your what we call sympathetic nervous system is revving
sure.
right now, which is
Hmm.
appropriate. It's how we get stuff done in the world. So
For
I was
sure.
asking you to shift gears to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is hard. But the
Right.
more we practice the mindfulness snacks, the more we learn how to shift gears, the more fluid our system becomes. We actually reverse aging when we do that.
Amazing. I love de-stressing. And I would love to know if there's anybody who is listening who doesn't love to de-stress. So put it in the show notes if you're like, nope, I don't like de-stressing. I'd love to hear from you. Um, Thank you so much, Cheryl, for sharing everything that you have with us. And we will have in the show notes how to get in touch with you. Just want to clarify, do we need to be in the room with you in Niagara in order to access your program?
No, everything is available online, although I do have in-person opportunities throughout the year.
Perfect.
And if anybody's interested in learning a little bit more, but they're not ready to, they don't
Hmm.
know me yet, I do
Hmm.
have a free 45-minute masterclass that kind of dives a bit more deeply into the science and the program itself. So you can just try it out for free and see if
Sure.
uh, if that's where you want
It,
to go.
Perfect. Oh, thank you so much. We will have all of that information in the show notes. And before we close, I would love to share something gently but very clearly that these conversations have arisen something within me where I am hosting and behind the scenes pulling together and live in person 2-day immersive experience called Ignite the Inner Uprising. It will be in November of 2026. I envision a room full of women coming together live in a room to come into our own, to come and just be, to shut the noise out and to come to a safe space where these types of conversations we are having become more embedded, more embodied, and igniting the spark that is living deep within you, as Cheryl was already alluding to. And we know so much is going on deep inside of our hearts and our souls. And this is an opportunity for you to come and just be in an incredible space where there's safety and there is a grounded presence.
Sign
So
me up. Where do I sign up?
there will be in the show notes, there is the wait list. So get your name on that wait list because
Okay.
you'll want to get the information and be one of the first to know how it's all going to roll out and how you can attend. And I'm so excited to bring this to the world because, women in particular in midlife are underserved, right?
Mhm.
We're underserved massively, and it's time to change that. And I'm seeing this as an inaugural event. It's like a movement for women in midlife. So we don't, like I said at the very beginning, get buried and just disappear into the world. There's so much calling us, like you shared, Cheryl, from when we were teenagers before, like there was a spark, and that's what this is. We are igniting that inner uprising.
Yeah, sounds amazing.
Oh, I'm so excited. So if this is landed for you, make sure you put your name on that wait list. Get on there. And if there is something that came through in their conversation today, make sure that you like, follow, share, give us a review so more women in midlife can hear and see these incredible conversations and these amazing guests that I get to share space with. And make sure that you thrive After 45. Cheryl, thank you again for your time, your presence, and your gifts sharing into the world. And everyone who's listening, make sure you go and do something for you, by you, because of you today.
Namaste.